I slapped down his outstretched hand, and he managed to knock over a box on the low table near him. It ejected a handful of cigarettes. "Here they are," he said cheerfully. "You recall Kipling? Une femme et une femme et un caporal et une cigarette. Now we need matches." "Quilty," I said, "I want you to concentrate. You are going to die in a moment. The hereafter, for all we know, may be an eternal state of excruciating insanity. You smoked your last cigarette yesterday. Concentrate. Try to understand what is happening to you." He kept taking the drone cigarette apart and munching bits of it. "I'm willing to try," he said. "You are either Australian or a German refugee. Must you talk to me? This is a Gentile's house, you know. Maybe you better run along, and do stop demonstrating that gun. I've an old Stern Luger in the music room." I pointed Chum at his slippered foot and crushed the trigger. It clicked. He looked at his foot, at the pistol, again at his foot. I made another awful effort, and with a ridiculously feeble and juvenile sound it went off. The bullet entered the thick pink rug, and I had the paralyzing impression that it had merely trickled in and might come out again. "See what I mean?" said Quilty. "You should be a little more careful. Give me that thing, for Christ's sake." He reached for it. I pushed him back into the chair. The rich joy was waning. It was high time I destroyed him, but he must understand why he was being destroyed. His condition infected me. The weapon felt limp and clumsy in my hand. "Concentrate," I said, "on the thought of Dolly Hayes, whom you kidnapped." "I did not," he cried. "You're all wet." "I saved her from a beastly pervert. Show me your badge instead of shooting at my foot, you ape, you. Where is that badge? I'm not responsible for the rapes of others. Absurd. That joyride, I grant you, was a silly stunt, but you got her back, didn't you? Come, let's have a drink." I asked him whether he wanted to be executed sitting or standing. "Ah, let me think," he said. "It's not an easy question. Incidentally, I made a mistake, which I sincerely regret. You see, I had no fun with your Dolly. I'm practically impotent to tell the melancholy truth, and I gave her a splendid vacation. She met some remarkable people. Do you happen to know—" And with a tremendous lurch he fell all over me, sending the pistol hurtling under a chest of drawers. Fortunately, he was more impetuous and vigorous, and I had little difficulty in shoving him back into his chair. He puffed a little and folded his arms on his chest. "Now you've done it," he said. "Vous voilà dans le beau drap, mon vieux." His French was improving. I looked around. Perhaps I could, on my hands and knees, risk it. "Alors, que fait-on?" he asked, watching me closely. I stooped. He did not move. I stooped lower. "My dear sir," he said, "stop trifling with life and death. I am a playwright. I have written tragedies, comedies, fantasies. I have made private movies out of Justine and other 18th century sexcapades. I'm the author of 52 successful scenarios. I know all the ropes. Let me handle this. There should be a poker somewhere. Why don't I fetch it, and then we'll fish out your property?" Fussily, busybodily, cunningly, he had risen again while he talked. I groped under the chest, trying at the same time to keep an eye on him. All of a sudden I noticed that he had noticed that I did not seem to have noticed Chum protruding from beneath the other corner of the chest. We fell to wrestling again. We rolled all over the floor, in each other's arms like two huge, helpless children. He was naked and goatish under his robe, and I felt suffocated as he rolled over me. I rolled over him. We rolled over me. They rolled over him. We rolled over us. In its published form, this book is being read, I assume, in the first years of 2000 AD, 1935 plus 80 or 90. Live long, my love. And elderly readers will surely recall at this point the obligatory scene in the westerns of their childhood. Our tussle, however, lacked the ox-stunning fisticuffs, the flying furniture. He and I were two large dummies stuffed with dirty cotton and rags. It was a silent, soft, formless tussle on the part of two literati, one of whom was utterly disorganized by a drug, while the other was handicapped by a heart condition and too much gin. When at last I had possessed myself of my precious weapon, and the scenario writer had been reinstalled in his low chair, both of us were panting as the cowman and the sheepman never do after their battle. I decided to inspect the pistol. Our sweat might have spoiled something, and regain my wind before proceeding to the main item on the programme. To fill in the pause, I proposed he read his own sentence in the poetical form I had given it. The term poetical justice is one that may be most happily used in this respect. I handed him a neat typescript. "Yes," he said, "splendid idea. Let me fetch my reading glasses." He attempted to rise. "No." "Just as you say. Shall I read out loud?" "Yes." "Here goes. I see it's in verse."